One thing for me, I hope you're ashamed of yourself. You should be. It's 70 degrees out. You have bunny hoops on.
Be the arrest for?
Not obeying a lawful order from a police officer.
Okay, and how is that a lawful order when I spotted over there about 6 people? I have them recorded too. So my question is how is that a lawful order when you're not preventing other people from going in and out?
Go ahead and put your heads back.
You were told not to do it.
So the question you're all probably asking is, how did it get to this point? Well, let's go ahead and start off with the announced restrictions on persons' movement around that area. Now, back on August 27th, KTU put out a press release showing specific maps where people could go take their vehicles and could go on foot, and where the restrictions are for security lines. Now, what is on display is actually a quick screen cap from that article after I was arrested, showing exactly where the no perimeter zone was for pedestrians and where the vehicles could not go. Alright, let's go ahead and use Google Maps and their little direction thing to sort of give you an idea of what happened from an overhead perspective. And we're going to go ahead and use this dot here to give you an idea. So I started off originally over here, which I originally was wandering around town, filmed a bunch of other stuff, mostly boring stuff, B-roll stuff on the main camcorder. I got to this point here and noticed that this sidewalk was closed off. And I wondered, I thought that the immediate sidewalk over here, where my dot's moving, was closed off. Well, you'll hear me clear that up in the third video portion, saying, oh, I double checked and noticed that the closure actually extended down to this location. Well, since I decided to go ahead and walk around the block and get a good view of the rest of the security perimeter and all that stuff, I came down this alleyway, and I decided, well, why the hell not walk down over here, because the immediate closures are supposed to be in this area. So I come down here, and I slowly walk my butt down here, and I stopped here for about a minute and filmed into one of the windows that was up high. You couldn't really see anything but a chair and a desk and a couple chairs there in the window. And as I slowly moved down and stuff, I noticed that there are semi-trailers blocking access from this parking lot here onto 8th there. And it's when I get about here is when I start having a bunch of police come over, and they start pushing me over to the street right here. And that's where you're going to see this video here in a second.
Do you have any ID with you, sir? How about a first name? You don't want to give me your ID. First name, last name, so I don't have to say, hey, you.
Sir, do you have the ID on you though? Or name?
What's your name, sir? What's your name? Okay, we'll call you John Doe. Do you have any weapons on you, sir?
Oh yeah. They were sending a group out.
Now, after that video gets cut off, you'll see, well, unfortunately you can't see, they tell me that I get trespassed from that area. And up until this point, there is nothing blocking people from going in and out of this alleyway. And if you look back on this one section of the video, you can sort of barely make out in the bad quality resolution of the security, well, not security, but construction barricade blocking off the sidewalk. Well, when they finally pushed me, well, they pushed me out to the sidewalk over here, I noticed that they had the no pedestrian thing on the sidewalk, despite that the advertisings that they put out on the press releases saying that this was only closed to traffic. Also, if we go back and take a quick look real fast, you'll notice that this person with a backpack, while I was in that spot being confronted by the police and an army guy and some other people, was strolled right through, unaccosted or anything like that. I also asked why was I being pushed out when I just watched someone walk through, and one officer stated that they've been cleared and have a special badge to get in, which doesn't make sense because there's no security perimeter and there is no checkpoint to get into this block area. So I end up coming back around over here, and this is where you're going to see my second video that I narrated after I noticed that my recording got stopped when I tried to sort of turn off the screen for the phone on Bamboozer, well, my broadcast. So here is that broadcast.
Okay, for whatever reason, didn't record in the first place. Anyway, go over a quick rundown here. And I'll, of course, have the camcorder footage a little bit later. I'm holding two with one hand here. So, anyway, I walked down this alleyway and had a bunch of police and some Secret Service guys come over and say I'm within the perimeter. And if you notice, there's no marking. And we have a gentleman over here, didn't see a badge when he was looking here, who's walking in that area, within the perimeter. They didn't like the fact that I had a camcorder filming in that area. And that's the second person I've seen walk through there in the last 10 minutes. The other one was carrying a backpack, walked through there when I was getting confronted by the cops. But over there, they have officers that's stopping people from getting on the opposite side of the street. Over there, on 9th, they got signs that says the sidewalk's off limits. Oh, here's number 3. Number 3, number 3. They told me if I end up walking back into this area, that I would be arrested. So, stay tuned for the other footage. And sorry, I didn't apparently broadcast properly when I hit the button, so well, I still got it at least on one camera.
Now, if you notice in that broadcast, there was two people that walked right into that same alleyway, but were seemingly unopposed, just wandering. And I've seen a vehicle pull into this parking lot right here, where they turned around and all that stuff, nothing wrong. Well, at some point, there was two officers that came walking down the alleyway from the G Street area in my direction, and I waited for them to approach me, and I went ahead and asked them, why would they not close off this area if it was closed to pedestrians? Because I have watched a couple pedestrians walk into that area, and you saw in the video that I did right there, the Bamboozer broadcast. Well, they ignored me all the way up to this point, so I was like, okay, fine. So I came back around over this way and noticed at this spot they had one officer parked in this parking lot here. And I'm not sure if he was preventing people from going in and out in that direction or whatnot. And a quick note, also, this entire block was still active business-wise from the looks of it. The restaurant that I passed by had peak customers. The office building that was just south, let me see if I can move the map here. Oh, there we go. The office building right here had a lady that asked me if she wasn't supposed to be parked there. I said they told me I couldn't be in that area, and I asked her if she worked here or whatever, and she said she worked right here and proceeded to go what I perceived to be into this building here, in the back door there. But anyway, continuing on, I came back around over here and decided to come down over here because there was a large pro-Obama group that actually marched around all this and came back around over here. I want to get some B-roll footage of them coming by. One thing I sort of noticed when I was moving along this thing is I sort of cut in between the fence line, well, the concrete pillars here that hold up little signs for tagged parking. And the cops sort of took a closer look that were in the general area, noticing me, and looking like, oh, maybe we need to stop him kind of thing. And I sort of took note of that, but I was sticking mainly to the sidewalk here and just making sure the people can move past and I could squeeze past them, get the good footage. And I came over here and noticed that they had, it was roughly right about here, that they closed down the sidewalk to pedestrians going in this direction on this side. And it appeared that they closed down the pedestrian access over here. When over in this area was where the no pedestrian zone was originally lined out. Now, I can't say if that zone stayed that way for the entirety of the 3 days the conference happened, due to the fact that I was banned as part of my bond release, that I could not return to the downtown area between C Street and L Street and 15th Street all the way north up to the military base. So this also prevents me from going to the courthouse and technically prevented me going to the courthouse to do any kind of paperwork or city hall or anything like that. So that's quite the interesting part. But anyway, after noticing that, I was like, okay, come over here. And I decided to do a quick Bamboozle broadcast narrating exactly what I found, seen. And I decided, since I'm already broadcasting and all that, I'm going to go ahead and try to ask these officers that were there was a couple of officers in this parking lot. I want to ask them, why would they not close down this entire thing and properly mark it? And that's where this next part video is going to come in.
All right. Hello again. I found another alleyway that is not properly marked if they have it closed off. Here's where cops are sort of staging at. They've been going in and out and in and out. Now, I just double checked with the KTUU website on the map with closures for pedestrians. And the closure for pedestrians that is marked is on the furthest on the south side of the Nadina Center over there. The building that you see that is silverish, grayish, or whatever, is against the other street. So I was incorrect on that part, so correction on that part. So these officers over here, they're just standing here looking at me. Wonder if I'm going to walk over here into the perimeter that they supposedly have. Now, as I stated clearly, if you check the KTUU website, local Channel 2 News, that the pedestrian block-off is over there. But over here is not. That street over there is for vehicles, not pedestrians. But yet, they have it closed off to pedestrians also. This was not announced. So we're going to go have some fun and go talk with these officers. And ask them. This is not marked off on the map as being not allowed for pedestrians. What's up with that? Well, how is this within the perimeter when the perimeter that is stated is over there?
We're telling you that we're putting you in handcuffs, putting you in a car.
Putting me in handcuffs, and what is going to be the arrest for?
not obeying a lawful order from a police officer.
Okay,
That falls under
and how is that a
Narrated.
lawful order when I spotted over there about 6 people? I have them recorded too. So my question is how is that a lawful order when you're not preventing other people from going in and out?
Go ahead and put your hazmat back.
You were told not to enter the premises. You violated a lawful order.
Alright, and that's pretty much where I'm going to cut it off at on that part. Pretty much needless to say, I was arrested roughly right where that is at. And I'm going to go ahead and a little bit later on this week, it probably won't get done until next week after a few more phone calls, about the breakdown and the argument that they have for arresting me on trespass and all that stuff, and what is wrong with the entire situation, and what is flawed with their arguments so far. Unfortunately, this is going to shoot me in the foot a little bit if it comes down to me arguing in court. Most likely, this will end up going past arraignment, and it will go to trial, and we'll be seeing how this works out on the trespass case.